Hi everyone, about a minute on why gasoline and diesel fuel are here to stay in the transportation sector. As you can see, I'm out here, I'm walking in Zilker Park on the Great Lawn. Beautiful day here in Austin, Texas. Before I talk about gasoline and diesel fuel, if you don't know me, my name is Robert Bryce. I give you the numbers and the facts, not the spin about energy and power. Okay, so what about gasoline and diesel fuel and the transportation sector? We're inundated with hype about electric vehicles and these claims that we're going to electrify all of transportation and pretty soon everyone's going to be driving a Tesla. It's just not true. And the problem is fundamentally about scale. And I wrote about this on my Substack today. It's called Gasoline Does the Lindy Effect. And what I talk about is just the enormous scale of the U.S. transportation sector. And I use the latest numbers from S&P Global Mobility. There are about 286 million motor vehicles in the United States. And of that, again, according to S&P, there are about 3.2 million electric vehicles. So yes, EVs are growing and some people like them, but obviously the sales of EVs are slowing. But that's not really the story. It's the size of the existing motor vehicle fleet, or vehicles in operation as S&P calls them. So you have 283 million light trucks and passenger cars that run, almost all of them on gasoline, some on diesel, of course. This is an enormous number. And here's the key point. S&P says that that motor fleet is growing older. The average age now for the passenger vehicle fleet, light trucks and passenger cars rather, is 12.6 years. And it's going up. And I'm an example of that. I own a 2012 Acura TSX. It's a 2012. It's exactly 12 years old. Right on par with what S&P is saying is now the national average. And further, S&P says that average age of the U.S. auto fleet is going to continue rising. Why? Because new cars are so expensive and people aren't buying them. I'm an example of that. I could probably afford a new car. I don't want one. I've driven lots of new cars, yet to be impressed by any of them. They're too complicated. The automakers are spending too much money on gadgets and buttons and not enough on basic functionality. So I don't want a new car. Cars that I have work great. I maintain them. I just took it to the shop and got the maintenance done on my TSX. I really like that car. It has 110,000 miles, almost 115,000 now rather. I'm gonna keep it for another dozen years. So check out my Substack. I talk about this in detail about why gasoline is here to stay and the Lindy effect. And briefly, the Lindy effect is the longer something stays around, the longer it's likely to stay around. So my car's a dozen years old. I'm gonna keep it another dozen years. So check it out. Gasoline Does the Lindy Effect on my Substack. You know where to find me, robertbryce.substack.com. Thanks a lot. See ya.